Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this video, we're going to be starting, let me get the cover sheet, The Voyage of the B.S.M. Pandora, which is a game from, as you can see, from Aries magazine. I think it says January 1980 on here, or was it 1981? Because it's January 1980. Okay. By SPI, by one of my favorite designers, John Butterfield. It's a space exploration game and using the paragraph system, which he eventually evolved into, well, one of my favorite games, which is Ambush. So I thought, well, let's explain a little bit of the history. This didn't even know about it, okay, until recently when I saw it on the GMT game site, and there was a John Butterfield game. I can't remember something about the Pandora, and that this was a continuation of another game back in the 80s. Didn't twig it, but it was John Butterfield, so I P500 it. Yeah, I know. Um, didn't think any more about it, and then one day, I was looking up on eBay, one of my favorite places to buy games because, yeah, can't afford a lot of the new ones. And I thought, oh, Panzer Blitz. Panzer Blitz bits. There we go. Extra counters for Panzer Blitz, which is a game I've been playing recently quite a bit, as you all know, if you're with me on this point. And the person there had made places for different nations in Panzer Blitz. And when I was looking through what that person on eBay does, I saw this. He's replicated the game. He look to the side. Okay, so that's the cover sheet. He replicated the map. Hold on. That fits onto an A3 sheet like this. And it was at a reasonable price. So I'm going to put a link to that below. So if any of you guys want to pick it up, there's a copy of the rules, okay, which I've sort of highlighted where, I'll see things highlighted where I've been learning it. And various other sheets, and obviously the paragraphs. Now, as you say, if you're a long time follower of my channel, you know I'm struggling to get games onto a table. I could probably get this onto a table, but not keep it there until a later date. So I'm going to be using Vassal to show the playthrough of the game. I'm not going to do a rules deep dive on it on the game. I'm going to try and do it from a more narrative point of view. I say it's a paragraph instructive booklet. I think there's about 232 paragraphs in there, but I've done one playthrough, a 10-month mission, which is as short as you can choose. You can choose a 10-month, 20-month, or 30-month mission. Well, for this, I'm going to choose a 30-month and obviously break it up into various episodes, probably one planet per episode. So this episode, I intended just to show me getting my crew together to go on the Pandora to start exploring space. And then when we get to the first planet, I'll probably end it at that point, and then the exploration of that planet will be the next video. So yeah, I can't really say any more than that at the moment. So I hope you'll like and subscribe to the channel, and any comments are much appreciated. If you've played this game in the past, you know, give us a little discourse of what goes on, and hopefully I will survive the first interstellar travel, because on the first playthrough, but anyway, let's see what happens on the channel, and let's go down to the actual screen. Okay, so this is the voyage of the biological survey mission Pandora, hence the B.S.M. Pandora. It's a solo game. I play all 7 members of the crew. And I'll go through the crew, how it's generated and such forth in a moment. And it's got 2 game scales. You've got the tour of duty, which is done in months, and then you've got expedition hours when you actually go to any one of the planets. So as you can see here, I'll just scroll down. This is the interstellar map, and we'll be moving our ship, the Pandora, through these to the various planets. And each of these planets has multiple ways of actually being set up. So it's not just a case, oh, there's 10 planets here. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planets. 3, 6, 9 planets. And there's only 9 planets to explore. And that's not the case at all. Because depending on the paragraph it sends you to, you'll have different environments for each of these planets. There's a likelihood, but and then which actual map is used for each of these planets. You get to land on one of these maps and then you explore it and encounter different things as denoted by the paragraphs. So there's 230 odd paragraphs, but there are multiple ways that those paragraphs can activate depending on A, the planet you're on, B, the map you're on, etc. And the environmental conditions and so on. Anyway, yeah, we'll explore that as we go. Explore. There we go. Pun intended. All right. So it says 232 paragraphs. Okay. As I said, this was done by John Butterfield, and it does say 1980 on it. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Now, there's a certain sequence to go to set up the game. We have different crew officers. So we have like the CO, commanding officer. Now, it doesn't say you have to do this, and call me sad if you really, really want to, but I'm going to name my crew. There you go. Yes. So the commander, I mean, I'm taking these crews from science fiction TV shows or movies. There can only be one commander, can't there? Come on, guys. It's Commander Ripley. She is in charge of the Pandora. Okay. To go out into deep space and explore places. Yeah, it's got to be, and it is Ripley. We then have a medical officer. Okay. And I'm going to say that's Scorpius. Now, if you don't know what TV show from that's from, then look it up. The navigator. Well, I was torn on this one, but it's going to be Tawny Madsen. If you know where that's from and who the character is, put it in the comments. Tawny Madsen is a navigator. She will talk a lot to the shipboard computer. There's a clue for you. Maintenance officer. Okay. That is Tech Sergeant Chen from the same movie as the navigator. Then ground survey. Well, I couldn't think of anyone for a while, and I thought the only person who really does lots of ground surveys in nearly every show that he's been in is Riker from good old Star Trek Enterprise. No, it was just Star Trek Next Generation. Yeah, Riker. He is my ground survey officer because he always went down onto the ground, didn't he? Science officer. Well, I've used. Right, that was the science officer. That's the ground. Yeah, science officer. Taken again from a movie that I've already mentioned a few times. Dr. Lazarus. Okay, for a clue, Dr. And weapon officer. Well, I couldn't think of any other tougher person for this one, and that's Aaron Sun. Again, from the same show that Scorpius comes from, played by the wonderful Claudia Black. So that's my team. As I say, I didn't have to do that, but in my mind, that's going to be the characters. And if I have to make a decision on play, I'll probably play it according to them rather than strictly the best solution I can have. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to have fun too. So that's my crew. Next thing we got to do is determine the intelligence of each of these members of the crew. That's determined by rolling a d6. So on a 1, they have an intelligence of 6. On 2 to 3, they have an intelligence of 7. On a 4 to 5, they have an intelligence of 8. And on a 6, they have an intelligence of 9. So I'm not going to take the guidance of the characters as their intelligence. I'm going to let a die roll determine. So let's start off with Commander Ripley. 6. Well, she has to be, doesn't she? She's got an intelligence of 9. Okay. Next up, we have the medical officer.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
She's got to butt in somewhere. Okay, the medical officer, Scorpius. He's got, blimey, that's good. We expect a medical officer to have a good intelligence. Okay, next up is the navigator, Tawny Madsen. Blimey, this dice likes rolling sixes. I like this dice. 3 9s. Okay. Next up is the maintenance officer, Tech Sergeant Chen. 5. So he's got intelligence of 8. Then we had the ground survey officer, Riker. Yeah, that fits. I know might be beloved, but he does make some dumb mistakes at times. Okay, the science officer. You expect this to be high. 4. Okay, well, 4 to 5 is an 8 rating. Okay, so he's an 8. And then finally, the weapons officer, Aaron Sun, 3. So she's got a rating of 7. That is not too bad. So Commander Ripley, 9. Medical Officer Scorpius, 9. Navigator Tawny Madsen, 9. Maintenance Officer Tech Sergeant Chen, 8. Ground Service Officer Riker, 6. Science Officer Dr. Lazarus, 8. And the Weapons Officer Aaron Sun, 7. So that's the intelligences rolled, and that'll be the same for, well, they can lose those points as the game progresses and gain them back as the game progresses. Okay, so let's just have a little zoom in on these characters and what they actually mean. Okay, so the CO, Commander Ripley, there are 5 numbers on the character there. And then from left to right, they are the capture combat value, the kill combat value, their weight, their portage points, how much they can portage and carry, and then their speed. There's a lot to remember. I mean, I can't even think of an acronym. Seeing CKWPS. Okay, if any of you guys can think of an acronym, put it in you know where in the comments. But those are what the values are. So the capture combat is if you're trying to capture a creature. The kill combat, you decide, you know what, let's just kill the bloody thing. The weight is how much weight it costs to carry that person via other things, portage points, how much that person can carry, and speed in relation to other creatures and beasts and crew. That's what those ratings are for. So that's the 7 crew. Now I can, if I right click on here, I can set intelligence and make that 9. I don't know what the effect will have on the game. I'm going to do that for all the crew. Now we also have 4 bots. Okay, now I didn't really use these in my playthrough, test playthrough, and that might have hindered me a little bit because each of the bots, now they've got values on them. And of course, they're in slightly different places, but you basically have a capture combat and a kill combat. Why they couldn't have put them on the bottom as well, I don't know. But there we go. Then it's weight, port, and speed. So effectively, those 2 and then those 3 are as if moving from left to right, but I would still prefer them to go. But there we go. And so each of these robots can do certain things. So this one here, don't put that in a combat situation. A 12993, but it can carry stuff. It weighs 9, but it also can carry 9, but it's not very fast. Whereas this is obviously designed for combat. Okay, so you've got 4 bots on the ship, and all this is equipment. Which, well, let's just go through what equipment we've actually got. So can I zoom in any more? That's about the maximum zoom. There we go. Right. So the equipment we've got. So we've got armor rig. So an armor rig must be worn by a character when in a corrosive atmosphere. Its weight is not ported, carried by the character when they wear it, but is added to the character's weight when in the rover or shuttle. So when wearing an armor rig, all other ratings are used instead of the character's corresponding ratings. So good in combat, it weighs a bit and then can carry a bit. Now I've got a few of these. I've got 3. Oh, I've got 4 armor rigs. Oh, I've got 5 armor rigs aboard the Pandora itself. The next up is...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Is that bot kit? Bot kit. Okay, so what's a bot kit do? May be used to repair damaged bots during an expedition. I only got one of those. Climb kit. Well, that lets me climb stuff. Reduces the time expended to enter mountain and cliff hexes in an environment when an expedition is on foot. E-cages. Now, these are what I use to capture the creatures and put them in, to store them, and then examine them as we go along. So, yeah, the actual may be used to contain and port a captured living creature. Its weight is always 1, regardless of the type of creature, if any, contained in it. One creature only may be contained in a given E-cage at any one time. Okay. Holographer. What is it? Well, I'll tell you what, let's move these out of the way a little bit because I want to put all the kit down here. Holographer. May be used to create a 3-dimensional analytical image of a life form when capture is prohibited, as described in certain paragraphs. So that could be useful to work out. As you can see in a lot of the new movies, they put a holograph where they twist it around, they can stick their hands in it and such forth. That's the kind of thing I envision. Now, remember this game's from 1980, so, but that's what I envision it actually is. Next, we have, well, a medical kit. I don't know what that does, Captain. What does a medical kit do? Yeah, as it says on the tin, heal wounded characters. Net gun. I'm running out of space because I want to put these all here. So, but anyway, net gun. Maybe used in combat against creatures. Its combat ratings replace those of the character using it. The net gun can't be used underwater. So remembering the first one is its capture rate. So that's good for capturing, not so good for killing monsters. Monsters, creatures. They're not monsters. They're creatures. Let's move these all down here so I can put all my equipment out, and then I could choose. And that's what it is. You choose what equipment you want to take with you. All right, neuroscan. May aid an expedition when encountering intelligent life forms. So, next up, the rover. Okay, may be used to transport the expedition in an environment. Its weight rating is used only when in the shuttle. So it's got a weight of 20, but it can portage people around. Yeah, it's the weight, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, scanner. Reduces the chance of surprise attacks. I carried this when I did my trial expedition everywhere with me. It does reduce the chance of surprise attacks. You know, that's like I was going to say Leonard Newman, Spock and his little machine and go doop, around, or Ripley with her machine gun. Where, you know, when you got the aliens approaching and about that's what the scanner is. You got to have one of them. Stun bomb. Everyone likes a stun bomb. Maybe used in combat against creatures. Okay, so again, look at it. It's got a good rating for capturing, but not too bad for killing the buggers as well, if you need to. Toolkit. Maybe used to repair damaged tools, except itself. Fair enough. And then finally, the turbo laser. Gotta have a turbo laser just in case. Maybe using combat against creatures. Its combat rate is replaced again. So again, not so good on the capture. Excellent if you want to kill the buggers. All right. So that's the equipment. That's the bots. That's the crew. And as we move over here, that's the ship, the Pandora. That's the area of space we're going to explore. And then we'll go. So what we're going to do now is effectively start the game. Okay, so how to start play. So after reading the rules, I have read the rules twice, maybe even 3 times now. Okay, the players choose how long the Pandora's tour of duty will be. Now, when I did my test game, I did a 10-month tour of duty. I am going to now do a 30-month tour of duty. And to show that, expedition time, got hours, tour time months, I stick this right the way down here and starting at 30 months tour of duty. The play pieces, we set them up ready to play. See, you can hear me talking through the rules. Okay. We've done the intelligence ratings, and then it tells me to go to a particular paragraph to start the actual game. However, before I go there, I need to explain how I bloody win the thing. Okay. Victory and void of the Pantera is determined by the number of victory points the player, me, accumulates during the course of the game. Players record VPs as he's gained and lost the creature's attribute log. So yeah, I've got a little chart. Now, the amount of victory points I need is dependent on how long the voyage is. Okay. If the VP total is twice the number of months in the tour of duty or less, the player loses. The result, so I need 61 victory points or more to win this game. And you gain victory points for capturing monsters. So you say monsters. Well, are monsters until you know them as only creatures. Capturing creatures, finding artifacts, and other exploration type activities. Okay. You lose victory points if characters die. You lose victory points if all your equipment is lost or of a particular type. And if your tour of duty goes beyond the 30 months, you take extra hits on your VPs. But we'll go in more detail of that when it starts getting closer to the time, or when I start actually gaining any victory points. So it tells me to go to paragraph 201. And now I have them in a booklet, but also there's this little handy dandy that's already in here. It tells me to go to 201. There we go. So outfitted, checked and rechecked, the Pandora depart from the Watkins Memorial Exploration Depot in the Crichton system. The faster than light drive is activated, and the mission heads for the first planet in its assigned exploration sector, the area shown on the interstellar display. Choose a planet on the display and conduct interstellar movement, checking to see if an interstellar event occurs. Once completed, refer to the appropriate row of the planet table to determine the next paragraph. So we're starting at paragraph 201. Okay, so that's where I am here. Now, interstellar travel. Pandora may be moved from one planet hex to another on the interstellar display, okay, by using interstellar movement. Whenever the player is at paragraph 201, which we just are, the player chooses any planet on the display that has not yet been moved to or explored and conducts interstellar movement to put the Pandora in orbit around the chosen planet. Interstellar movement is also used to move the Pandora from the Pandora entry box, which is where we are here. That's the entry box. So after choosing a planet to travel, well, as you can see, each of these planets has different colors. And the color relates to how far it is from their respective suns. So the red ones are close. The yellow ones are like where Earth is in the biosphere. Far is blue, and then remote, there's one remote planet from its sun. And also you can tell the size of the planet depending on. So this one here, that's close to its sun, and it's a small planet. Do we want to go there first? It's the closest. But I want to see if we can find some life. I'm going to go to the tiny Piccolo. And that is 1, 2, 3 hexes away. Okay, so what I've got to do now is each one of those hexes takes me a month to get through. Okay, I then, because I'm moving 3 hexes, I roll 2 dice. And if the die roll is equal to or less the amount of hexes I move, there is an interstellar event. If it's more than, then there is no interstellar event. So let us begin as we go through. 1, 2, 3. And we roll 2 dice. 6. But there is no interstellar event. Okay. So we get to that's called accounting. There we go. Piccolo. What happens then? Okay, so now we bring up the planet table. Look at Piccolo, and I've got to roll a dice. And depending on what I roll, will determine which. So already you can see there's only 9 planets, but there's 3 options for each one. So all of a sudden we've got 27 options for what starting paragraph is for each planet. That roll the dice. 4. That tells me to go to paragraph 095. Let's do that. Right, there we go. Orbiting Piccolo, gravity, near weightless. So again, each different paragraph will have a different answer. So we now need to gravity, near weightlessness. And I can do that by putting this in. And then Right. Okay, so near weightlessness. Atmosphere, none. Atmosphere, none. Okay. Hydrogen, percentage of water, 25%. I think that's what hydrogen means. Geology, quiet. No, probably no volcanoes. Oh, we're both with geology, unless they come to those. No, okay. Quiet, life support value 3. And then it says, if the planet will be explored, see 5.0, so we'll roll 1 die, low result 3. This tells me which text I'm going to land on. Okay, so 0806 0806 is this map here. But that's if I roll 1 to 3, and it tells me what paragraph to go to. Not 4 5 is 0 2 1 3. 0 2 1 3. That's down here. So that's 2 different maps to start with, okay, and 2 different starting paragraphs. And for roll 6, 1502, which is here, another starting paragraph. That's 3 different environments that I could land in, depending on what I want. So, start off with 9 potential planets. Okay. Start off with 9 potential planets, which then, because of the nature, gives us 27 different paragraphs to go to, which then gives us another 3. 27 times 3 we've got 70, 79, 81. Get there. Yeah, with 81 possible things just below to that one planet. How it compares. I have no idea what's the other paragraphs, but that's what makes the game infinitely replayable. Not quite right. I mean, this is just one planet. Each time we play it, will need to be different. But anyway, that's where I'm going to end. We'll go into how to set up an expedition, how to decide what crew, what equipment, and such will take, because I don't know which planet I'm going to land on, and I've got to decide that before I actually go to that planet. So let's end it there and bring us back to the top. Okay, so that's the start of the game. I have my charts and tables here, but I'm bringing them up to show you what they look like. This they don't have on the thing. I've got my crew. This is my creature, or I explore. It says creature attribute and victory log. Over here is my crew. Each of my crew's got 6 endurance boxes. My equipment is all listed here, and they can take damage and get knocked out as well. And finally, Yeah, I got my crew. There we go. So I don't know if I'm going to have that ring any much to effect, but it just helps me sort of visualize who they actually are when I send them on expeditions, and hopefully go tearful when any of them actually die, because that can happen. And in my test game, it did happen. So, all right. Thank you for watching so far. I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the game. The next video will have us start to explore. We'll do a ground mission onto Piccolo to see what we can actually find. It looks like it's a barren wasteland, but it isn't the biosphere, so there could be some creatures that can survive in weightlessness and no atmosphere conditions. Who knows? The paragraphs will determine as we move through the game. Until next time, though, play games, have fun. Bye, Internet.